Hello, toy fans. So in this short video, I'm going to take you through my process of painting my toys. Admittedly, this is not going to be too long a video. When it comes to painting, I will say that I am pretty mediocre. Compared to a lot of other people that paint toys, my paint jobs are pretty simple, but I kind of go for that aesthetic with my toys, kind of like my painting. I like blocks of colour, I like really vibrant stuff, and I try to keep it fairly simple. I could spend a lot more time painting my toys, but inevitably I'm rushing to get an exhibition done or something like that, and I never quite give myself enough time to do a really awesome paint job. I want to get better at that, so in time, maybe I'll do some more tutorials on more advanced painting and bits and pieces. But for today, I'm just going to paint 3 pieces. I just wanted to give you a good example of how I go through my process, how I do my color work, and how I do all the base coat and all that kind of stuff. And it's really quite simple for me. I try to keep it basic, as I said. So without further ado, here's me painting some toys to the best of my ability. Enjoy! Okay, so here's the 3 pieces that I'm going to paint. To be really honest with you, I would usually do a much larger batch than this. I'd probably paint 10, 20 at a time if I'm doing base coats and stuff like that. But for the purpose of this video, I'm just going to do these 3 so that you have an example of 3 different toys and how I do them so that I can get through it pretty quickly for the tutorial. Now, as you can see here, I've actually started washing these off in some hot water with a bit of soap. Quite hard to show the video of me scrubbing them down because I only have one hand and I don't have a stand for my phone, and I'm just using my phone to record this. So make sure that you wash these off with warm, hot, soapy water. Really important to get rid of any debris or any bits and pieces that might be on your toy or any mold release that you might have used. So wash them off. Okay, so these are nicely washed, but it's great and they're nice and clean. And you would have seen that I showed you a tutorial earlier how to remove all the flashing and stuff, but I kind of do one more step, and it might be superfluous, but I do it anyways. I have some alcohol wipes here, and I'm just going to go over, and I'm actually just going to wipe them down with alcohol. This just makes sure that the surface is just really nice and clean. You'll notice 3 other toys sitting off to the side there. That's for a second tutorial that I'm going to do, kind of concurrently with this one. And that one's going to be fun. So I just kind of wipe them down with an alcohol swab or something. You can just use alcohol out of a bottle or anything like that. This just kind of makes sure that I've gotten rid of any stuff that might still be on there, because if you get any dirt or any mold release or anything like that on your toys and then you go to paint them, the likelihood of the paint flaking off or chipping off is very high. So I just make sure that these things are really nice and clean. A lot of people kind of forget about this, or they just wash it off with warm soapy water, and then sometimes there's a little bit of soap left on them if they haven't rinsed it off, and it'll I was about to swear then. It'll just, it'll ruin the paint job. And if you get one little tiny thing wrong with your paint job here, sometimes you can paint over it. But if it's on the base coat, man, usually you're just going to have to actually redo that whole freaking base coat. Okay, so I'm not going to worry about this, because if I paint over that, it's cool. I'm just going to get some alcohol and I'll just remove it afterwards. I do have some masking liquid, and a lot of the time I'll put masking liquid over areas that I don't want to paint. I usually do that with my airbrushing, and that's not quite the focus of today. So airbrushing will come. It will come. But for now, I'm showing you a very basic way to paint them without requiring an airbrush. I know, right? Sounds cool. Okay, so these are ready. I'm just going to kind of let them dry off for a little bit, and then I'm going to paint them. Okay, so here are the 3 pieces that I'm going to paint. I'm going to prime these. Now, if I was going to use an airbrush, I would probably use the white. Okay, so if I was going to color them, put a coat of airbrush color on them, I would use a white base. This is my Rust-Oleum 2X, which you've probably seen in the previous videos. Stuff is just great. Like, it's so quick. A lot of people use a lot of different primers and stuff like that, but I use this one because it's just really good on plastic, really good on resin. I've never had any problems with it, and it just goes on nice and smooth. So first things first, I'm just going to put some gloves on. Not because I'm worried about any kind of toxicity or anything like that with this paint. I mean, maybe you should be, but because sometimes I'm going to have to kind of pick them up and put them around, and that's going to lead me to leaving fingerprints on them. At least this way it doesn't leave a fingerprint, and sometimes it's okay. Alright, so just shake this a lot, because I don't know how long it's been sitting there for. It's been a while. Oh, almost made a mistake. This is the white. I'm not using white today. I'm going to use a pink. So this will let me actually do a base coat, as well as, oh, I'm not using white today. I'm using pink. So this will let me do a base coat and color at the same time, which is brilliant and time saving. It means that I don't have to come in and do a white base coat and then airbrush a color. If I want a really specific color for the background, then I'll probably airbrush it, or I'll mix a color or something like that. But, you know, for all intents and purposes, this stuff comes in a whole bunch of different colors, and you can get some really, really great base coat colors. Especially, I love this pink. So I'm just going to shake this a lot because I really don't know how long it's been sitting there for. And I'm just going to do a test spray. Okay, that looks good. Now, when you're painting these, you don't want to get up really close like this or anything. You're going to get like drips, and it'll completely and absolutely screw your base coat. You want to come back like a fair way and then kind of just lightly dust them. And I can see he's not too stable there. Right, so that's a light, really light coat, because you're going to do one or two of these. You don't want it to drip. And I'm going to turn them around. I don't worry too much about the bottoms yet, because when this is dry, I'm going to flip them over and I'm going to do the bottoms, and I'll clean up anything like that. So just really, really light coat. For now, it's just really, really light coats. Now, please use an extractor fan or have really good ventilation when you're doing this. I'm doing this fairly quickly. I do have my extractor fan set up, but I'm trying to record and that thing is really, really noisy. So I'm just going without and, you know, wearing a mask. Now that's one really, really light coat, and I'm just going to leave it like that for a few minutes and let it dry. Okay, so this first coat is now nicely dried off. You can see it's actually really, really good coverage as it is. So I'm going to come through and do a second coat, and then I'll come through and do a third coat after that with the underneath portion, which is a little more tricky because I'm going to have to hold them, and yeah. So just shaking my can again. Again, just light coats. Get some of the underneath this time around. Don't go too heavy on this, just light sprays. Okay. One for good measure. And I think that's pretty good for a second coat. Alright, and once again I will leave these to dry and then come back and do a third coat, getting the underneath part. Okay, so these are pretty well dry now, so I'm going to come in and do the undersides of them because obviously that hasn't been painted. I'm not going to worry too much about the feet and stuff because I usually come back and hand paint those. It's just a small little embellishment that I do. So a lot of people will do this in a lot of different ways, put them on sticks, like put them up and down, but you know, these are dry enough and I'm just going to kind of hold them in a place where there's a lot of paint, and then I'm going to come in and get all the undersides. And it's about that for that one. I'll just give it a quick little last spray. And then for this one, I'll just kind of grab it by the points here. Come in, do the underside. Make sure it's all gotten. As I said, I'm not going to worry about that. It'll come off when I put it back down. Cool, and then another just light spray on top. Okay, and this one, kind of just rotate around. You can see all the white there. Come in, get all the undersides. Again, still light coats. And that's about it. And that's it. 3 coats. That's all you need. You don't need any more than that. So once that's all dried off, I'll come back and then I'll start doing some hand painting and bits and pieces. Cool. All right. Okay, so I have my 3 pieces primed, and yeah, they're pretty perfect actually. So I'm pretty happy with these. They've come up really well. The paint, look, usually maybe 24 hours I would probably leave these for before I started applying another coat to them. They're still not completely cured. I would do the base coat and then leave it for 24 hours. But just because I'm going to illustrate to you what I do with these, I'm just going to put these ones to the side and let them cure overnight. And I'm just going to maybe paint on this small one here, just so that I can show you exactly how I paint my pieces. And it's going to be really basic because this is a pretty basic piece and I like really basic paintwork. So I've got my pieces. I have my Mr. Hobby Aqueous here. This is my favorite paint. We'll go over that. I really wanted to use some silver, but I just realized that I'm totally out of frickin' silver, man. Well, there's a little bit left, and I'll see what I can do with that. I have my Mr. Color dominoes. Oh, that's weird. How strange is that? I'll fix that later. I have my Mr. Color leveling thinner. Yeah, I use this for my airbrushing, so if I was to be airbrushing with these paints, I would like half, kind of 50-50 on these. Really rough ratio. Depends on your airbrush, depends on what you're doing. I'll get to airbrushing at another time. But this here will help me kind of like wash my brushes and stuff like that. It is water soluble, but the brushes don't wash out that great in water, so I usually just like put a little tiny bit of thinner in a plastic container and have it there in case I just want to wash it out. Yeah, it stinks. It fucking really stinks, but it's okay. Alright, and I got my brushes. Me, for when I'm painting, because I'm painting solid blocks, I go for kind of like these flats. I like flat brushes. Synthetics are a little better than others, but I just, you know, I use what I've got. A couple of small ones, larger ones for larger surface area, and that. Now, when you're painting with these, and I'm thinking maybe this color rather than the really light color. I'm not sure. I'm going to have an experiment with them both, see what they're like. I might introduce a third colour. Sometimes I just like really plain, like 1 or 2 colours, you know. I don't really go too complicated. Maybe I should, and maybe I should start experimenting with my painting, which I haven't done a lot of. But for now, I'm just going to go through and do 1 layer of these. Well, when I say 1 layer, 1 colour I mean, because I'm probably going to have to do maybe 2 or 3 layers, and you'll see why in a minute. So let's go for this one. It's probably been sitting around for a little while. So let's have a look. No, it's not too bad. I'm just going to keep bumping those things over, aren't I? So I'm putting that... just get my skewer, and I'll just stir this up, because it will separate, it will do weird things when it's been sitting there for a while. I usually shake them up, but yeah. I just realised that my phone's making beeping noises. So the other thing that I usually have is a bunch of paper towel. So I'll just go and grab that. So yeah, I have a bunch of paper towel. I just use this to wipe up everything that I need to wipe up. Okie dokie. So I'm going to do his eyes first. Now I use it straight out of the jar, right? But you have to kind of be a bit careful here, because if you put too much on, it'll go really bad. Okay, so damn, look, I had some audio issues, so I just kind of, you know, sped through some of that painting. I've done a single coat on this. It's not very clean or anything like that, but it doesn't really matter. I just wanted to get that single coat down. First coat. This will be the coat that you can just start layering on top of. This stuff's pretty thin. You probably want to do about 3 coats. I will keep this really nice and simple. Just for the purpose of this tutorial, just show you how do you layer the paints on. I mean, it's really basic stuff, right? It's not hard. Anybody can do it. And that, Toy Fiends, is how you do a really, really basic paint job on your toys. I know it's not too exciting, it's very basic, but look, you don't have to go all out when you're doing your paint job. You can just do it really basically. Like, you can just spray it with a bit of paint, you can put a bit of detail on there. The point of the paint job isn't really to be amazing and awesome, although toys with amazing and awesome paint jobs are amazing and awesome. I'm just going to say that again, amazing and awesome. But sometimes it doesn't really matter. The form of your toy is what matters. The shape of it, how much effort you put into it, how cool it looks. You can have a really basic paint job on a toy and it's still going to look really great. A little down the track, I'm going to show you some examples of some more advanced painting jobs. I have a couple of these that I need to do. And these are going to be really, really quite detailed, because I'm going to get in there and do some line work, kind of like my paintings, which I haven't really done on a toy before. So that'll come with a bit more advanced piece a little down the track. But for now, look, they're the basics. You just got to prime it and then you got to paint it. Find a good paint that works for you. Obviously, mine is Mr. Hobby. Yours might be Valero, or it might be something totally different. It might be acrylics, or it might just be spray paint and that. You know, you want to clear coat it after this. I haven't shown you the clear coating process. There's a couple of different ways that you can do clear coating, and I'll go into that in another subsequent video. I have a lot of things to go over. But just really quickly, that's your basic paint job. Prime it, then paint it, then clear coat it. So I hope that that was in some way a little helpful. Again and again and again. It's just really basic. Like, I'm not going into advanced stuff here. Like, if you're just starting out, maybe this is really cool information for you to have something that's basic. If you're experienced, maybe I did something amongst my process that you thought was okay. No matter what it is, it doesn't really matter. That's my process for doing a really basic job. So basic. So basic. Now I'm just gonna like talk shit for just a second. Sometimes I don't even know what I'm talking about. I hope you found this little short bit intriguing or interesting, and there's more coming down the line. I'm just going to keep making videos and just keep doing stuff. Some of it will be basic, some of it might be like a 2-hour long video that you can enjoy. Who knows? I'll think of something. Take it easy, toy fiends. Cheers. So, it's the end of the video, and you're probably wondering, what have you been drinking while you've been making toys tonight, Factor? And I've been kind of sipping on this. I'm pretty sure that this is awamori from Okinawa. I picked this up on a Japan trip a little while ago. I haven't really drunk it before. It is extremely fucking strong. But... ooh. It's really good. I have a feeling that this is not awamori. This might be shochu. Somebody tell me what this is. I'm pretty sure it's shochu. But damn, it's really nice. I thought it was... okay, caveat. I didn't drink this before I recorded this. I just pulled a bottle off my collection shelf and I went, yeah, I'm going to say that I've been drinking this tonight because really I've been drinking fucking makgeolli and, you know, I drink makgeolli all the time. But this stuff, this is... oh, this is delightful. Why haven't I drunk more of this before? I have a feeling this bottle is not going to last long anymore. Anyways, if you're not drinking booze, drink some soda, drink some soft drink, as we call it here in Australia. You don't have to drink, but sometimes it's just nice to have a bottle of some nameless Japanese alcohol that you've totally forgotten what it is, and you thought it was awamori, but it might be shochu. Doesn't matter. You just do you. Do you, boo. Cheers. Damn, that's good. That's good.